In I was going to say in lesser happy news, right? But more inquisitive news, okay? Before we talk about this next subject, I want you guys to pull out your, what are they called? The things you look through. What is that called again? Eyeglass, spyglass, whatever. Let me know down below. And put on your sleuthing hats, okay? Because we're going to go on a adventure. Not a true adventure, but a follow the money adventure. Yes, I am. What do you mean? Am I even looking at chat? Yes, I'm looking at chat. Okay. You didn't hear me quote other people in the chat? Are you looking at the screen? Okay. Now, let's talk about Xbox. Okay. So, Xbox has had some very unique situations lately under the helm of Microsoft. As you guys know, Microsoft has laid off over 6,000 people, right? But or actually no, 9,000 people. 9,000 people. Sorry. Because 6,000 was another time this year. All right. Microsoft laid off 9,000 people in its latest rounds of cuts. And one of the reasons it says that they're trying to which is like one of the dumbest faux lies that I have ever seen. It says executives are still trying to reduce management layers. They are trying to reduce. So for people who are following the story, Microsoft proposes that the reason that suggests that the reasons that they have laid off so many people is that they want to reduce the layers between management and executives. I want that to sink in. Okay. So what was interesting for me, I'm like, hey, why did they do so many cuts? Because in January, they cut less than 1% of their headcount for all of Microsoft, right? Then in May, they also let go of 6,000 people. Then 300 people in June. And then this month, they have laid off 9,000 people. They're laying off 9,000 people, right? And I was like, for when it comes to layoffs, a lot of the times when a company does a layoff, it's because they didn't hit quotas or projected numbers revenue-wise, right? So when you think of the construct of a company, you have the board, you have the execs, and some of the execs sit on the board. Or actually, I think all the execs sit on. Well, no, because you can have investors and backers and things like that. But so in order for the top to keep their money where they like it, they cut out people underneath them. So that way that revenue flows up all the way. So let's say they were projected to make $50 million, right? And me as a board member, I'm set to make $30 million. Well, if we get those numbers and it turned out we made $30 million, we didn't make $50 million, we made $30 million. We didn't make what we proposed or what we thought what we projected. A lot of times a company will be like, hey, well, let's lay off some people so that way the reason is so that they can still continue to make their money. Yes, some people lay off portions and departments that are underperforming, but a lot of the times it's because the flow of money. They want the money to flow all the way upwards. And if there are people who inhibit that, by if you only made 30 million, you got to pay everybody. Your 30 million cut just went way, 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 way down. So their mindset is, hey, let's cut out some of those under regular people that had a 9 to 5 and no longer have a 9 to 5, while this board member is taking helicopter rides to a $1 billion retreat for billionaires. Well, not a $1 billion retreat, a retreat for billionaires. Okay. So I was like, hey, let's follow the money. This is where I need you guys to take out your eyeglass, your spyglass. I think it might be a spyglass to follow the money. I'm like, maybe Microsoft didn't make as much money as they said that, or they thought they were going to, right? So I'm like, hey, let me look at how much money, I love you too. I was like, let me look at how much money Microsoft made last quarter. This is an article that came out on CNBC, and this was published in May. And it says how Microsoft shares jumped 9% on earnings and revenue, beating an uplifting forecast. They expected $3.22 per share, and they ended up with $3.46. Their revenue, they expected $68 billion of revenue to come in, and instead made $70 billion. So my mindset is, if you're making even better than projected as a whole, and we're talking about Microsoft, right? As a whole, why are you slashing so allegedly, right? Don't forget to say allegedly. You're right. Allegedly. If you no, but these are actual numbers here that they quoted. They actually made $70 billion. Okay. Why would you slash 9,000 jobs this month, 6,000 jobs in May, and 1% in 1% in January, and then 300 in June? Why are you letting go of so many people, right? So I was like, hey, let me learn a little bit more about Microsoft and what they've been doing. Apparently, Microsoft has backed OpenAI, which is the ChatGPT people, allegedly. No, but for real, they did. Because this, you say allegedly for accusatory statements, not for, hey, this was actually released and this is what happened. So they allegedly backed OpenAI, which is ChatGPT, to the tune of, and I quote from CNBC.com, of $13 billion. $13 billion. This kind of feeds into the conversation that I don't know if you guys have been hearing, where a few people are saying that with Xbox, because Xbox closed a bunch of studios, they canceled a bunch of games that were supposed to come out, and people were like, hey, I think that this is a thing about AI. And I was like, where'd you come up with that information? Where'd you draw the line to AI? I'm starting to see the line. Because it doesn't make any sense. Well, let me give you a little bit more before I chime in a little bit more. Let me give you a little bit more. When we've trickled down to Xbox, right? We started at Microsoft. We're trickling down to Xbox. And Phil Spencer released a memo, basically kind of trying to let them know about the potential the layoffs that are coming, the incoming layoffs that are coming. Oh, wow. They're tracking me now. Hilarious. The incoming layoffs, and also about the closures and the canceling of games and whatnot, right? He says that today we shared decisions that will impact colleagues across our organization. And this is the part that's like corporate speak for to position gaming for enduring success and allow us to focus on strategic growth areas. We will end or decrease work in certain areas of the business and follow Microsoft's lead in removing layers of management to increase agility and effectiveness. What that mean? I want you to tell me what that mean. Because it doesn't make any sense. When you look at Xbox, right, and how in the gaming world, right, they recently acquired Activision. They acquired a bunch of other studios. You're like, hey, we want exclusive games. We want exclusive games. To align yourself, you shut down some of your big titles. They laid off 1,000 people, right? Which included people who were working on Call of Duty, which was one of their recent acquisitions. Okay. And they closed down a few of the studios. Let me see if I can find it. I had it open. A few of the studios that were working on upcoming games. Here we go. Yeah. So Perfect Dark had to close due to the cuts. Everwild had to be canceled. And also ZeniMax, who was working on a new MMO RPG, had to cancel their project due to the cuts. And King, the producers of Candy Crush, they also had to, they lost what it says around 200 people at their company, including Call of Duty developer Raven Software. Sorry. So when I said they're cutting Call of Duty, I take that back. I retract that. They are cutting people from Raven Software who has developed Call of Duty. I'll rephrase. So they probably thought that because AI was becoming more and more prominent. It's hard. I'm not gonna lie. It's hard to say what's Microsoft's plan with Xbox. Phil Spencer did what he was told to do. And this is not giving me riding on the give Phil Spencer grace train, because they love to Phil Spencer says something, they're like, oh, his hands were tied. Sarah Bond says something, they're like, she shouldn't have said that. He her boss. So hello, if you gonna go up for him and say it's Microsoft, then you got to go up from her and say that it's Phil. Let's be fair, people. But he's just reiterating, and poorly reiterating, the jargon and the dialogue he was given to release to his team and his people by Microsoft, right? Because Microsoft is their parent company and Microsoft is the one that makes the decisions. What I don't understand and what I can't 100% see is the why. What is Microsoft's goal with Xbox? Because there was a point in time where I thought that they were going to be like me and hubby have talked about, maybe they'll be like Sega, where they'll stop being a console provider and become a publisher. And we're seeing that conversation kind of surface a little bit more with the ROG Ally. So people are kind of having that conversation more and more. But even though I'm kind of seeing, okay, we're seeing the information, but not seeing the connective tissue to the point that makes it clear to us on what they are intending or planning to do, right? Because they gave us the vaguest, the vaguest explanation. Oh, we let go of a lot of people to make it a more streamlined thing from, or to reduce management layers from executives, and that's just y'all use ChatGPT for that. That was the ChatGPT response that they used. Okay, I use ChatGPT. I know them words. Okay, I know them words. So they gave us the vaguest explanation and had Phil follow suit for Xbox. They pay, so that's one thing. They paid $13 billion to OpenAI. So that's one thing. They're also fighting with OpenAI, which is another thing. And then they've done a bunch of layoffs and closed a bunch of gaming studios, canceled a bunch of games. What do you guys think is happening? What do you guys think is going on? Obviously, it's not based on the traditional model of cutting jobs and providing layoffs means more money for the higher ups, because, mind you, it still does. However, they made even more money this year. It's normally something you categorically see when a company has not made their projected numbers, or what they've quoted to their projected numbers in a quarter. But they did better. So if they're making more money, okay. All right, calm down. If they're making more money, why are they letting go of so many people? What is the goal? What is the plan? What are they doing? We'll keep an eye on this and see. I theorize that there is more tie-in with AI for sure. Obviously, $13 billion. There better be some. You better not waste that money. Okay? The money you be taking by charging $8 games that you take as a cut at Microsoft. And then, so I do feel like AI is involved in some way, but I don't know. Become more greedy. That's always a possibility. Become more greedy, Sarasa. It's always a possibility. But I don't know. Could you really get even more greedy? Y'all did better. I mean, I guess they could, But here's the thing. If you are wanting to sell a lot of games, why are you canceling a lot of games? And if you want to sell games and make money, why are you canceling games? Why are you closing studios? Why are you cutting off the bits of advantage that you can have in this industry to make money? I don't know.